we're just talking. So
Yeah.
no, my cousin came to live with us, and it's been about 1979, and we went to high school together in a private school in Houghton, Louisiana, which is about I don't know about 20 miles 20 miles east of Shreveport. And I grew up on a place, Lake Bistino, which is a little bit further out, which is about 25 miles out. So um, I came home in the afternoon. My dad said, "Well, your cousin's up in the woods hunting. Why don't you go get him right quick? It's going to get dark quick." So I loaded up my gun and walked up the pipeline to where he was. And it was getting really dark, and he's not from around that area, but he's trying to be a woodsman at the time. So I grabbed him. I said, "Let's just get back to the house." So it started getting really dark, and we're walking back to the pipeline that led to our house on Lake Bistino. And so all of a sudden we hear footsteps paralleling us in the woods. And so we keep walking. We're listening to it. And as we're walking, we notice the footsteps are kind of angling in on us. That's going to basically intercept us where we were walking. And by this time, it's kind of twilight. I could see the sky and the tree line on the edge of the woods where the pipeline was. And we stopped, and my cousin is just about 2 feet in front of me, and I can see him looking at the woods. And as it was walking out, it stopped on the edge of the woods, and they could tell it was looking at whatever it was looking at us. And I look up and I see a branch moving about 8 feet off one of the pine trees, waving. And we stop, and I had an Ivor Johnson carbine that I carried, and so I clicked off the safety because I was like, and I yelled, I was like, "You need to stop there." I thought it was some kind of, some drunk guy or, some old guy. I don't know what it was. And then it turned around and walked off in the woods away from us. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. And then I think we were about 16 years old. And then we went back to the house and we kind of laughed it off. And then I started remembering, we hear stories of a fount monster kind of creature, because Arkansas is literally
That
north
was
of
Boggy
us.
Creek.
Yeah, that's north of us. And it wasn't unusual to hear stories about that around Lake Bistino area. So the funny thing is that I flew up to Boston last year to meet my cousin, because that's where he lives. And we're sitting there talking. I said, "Hey, do you remember?" He goes, "Yeah, I remember that distinctly. You came up and got me. We saw it in something, whatever it was." So all of a sudden, I pulled up this app. It's called Bigfoot Map. And I'd actually downloaded that last year. And just for fun, I'm looking around our area at Lake Bistino. And then all of a sudden, I see there's 2 sightings that were done in 1979 at that same area, same location. Right there on the Bigfoot map that were reported. And then it kind of came back to me that, well, there was all kinds of sightings back in those days, and nobody really thought anything of it. When we were kids, I guess the early '70s, that the Legend of Boggy Creek came out, and it wasn't like an unusual movie, but it was it was just part of the culture back then, is what we assumed, I guess, or just, it was just normal.
I have a friend that says his brother saw that Boggy Creek squatch. So, in Louisiana, what did they refer to in there? Like skunk ape or?
No. That's so you got the fount monster, and you got the cattle creature, all the way down to East Texas. It's all the same. It's all the same creature. It's all described as the same for years. So.
Yeah. So, like, anytime people are talking about the Bigfoot thing, they always got to ask the question, "What do you think a Bigfoot is?" So in my experiences, it's been physical, and it sounds to me like what you're saying, it was physical.
Oh, absolutely.
And nothing spiritual about it at all.
No, it was physical. I don't discount any other. If people say they feel something spiritual, they get telepathy. I mean, I'm not closed-minded about it.
No, I mean, I can't say that it's not spiritual either. I mean, it's just that everything that I've ever encountered was all physical. I mean, physical prints, physical vocals, physical tree knocks. I haven't seen what was, you probably seen more than I did, but like I know that whatever I've come across out in them woods was hiding itself from me. But knocking trees at me, screaming at me, and
Well, last year when we came, last January, I took the girls and we went to Sullivan Lake, the bottom end of Sullivan Lake. My wife was with me, okay, and she's the biggest skeptic of everybody. Beautiful snow on the ground, and we drove in, parked, and then we walked into where the camping area was, and we did some whoops and we did some knocks, and we were there, and we kind of heard some movement in the woods under 100 yards away, walking through some movement in the tree line, cracking branches and stuff, and it's kind of stopped, and then we were there and we did a couple whoops, and then I hear this. I heard a growl, a low tone growl, and then I looked at my wife Kelly. She heard it too, and the girls were like, "And I mean, what do you do with that?" And I was like, what you said that you weren't sure you heard that or not. That's exactly what I was thinking. Man, did I really hear that? Because it was a low tone growl, and I could tell it was under. It was under 100 yards away from us. Probably I would estimate probably 50 or 60 yards. Is just because I spent a lot of times in the woods hunting and stuff. So, but I would estimate, and so. I don't usually get scared or anything like that, but I got a little unnerved because I got 3 girls in the stick with me. So, so I was like, so I kind of like, okay, well, I guess it's time for us to wrap this up, because I started getting the girl, well, let's kind of go, because I didn't know, I didn't think it would be a bear, because I figured the bears would be hibernating. I didn't think it would be a mountain lion. It didn't sound like a mountain lion sound to me.
Well, Lake Sullivan's
One
very
interesting
known
thing
for active.
before we walked into the campsite is I definitely smelled something. Like as quickly as it came, it immediately left. Like the only way I could describe it is possibly a skunk, maybe, perhaps, but it was just crazy how quick it came and then immediately went. Like I couldn't smell it anymore. It was so
because
crazy.
we weren't all kind of in the same. We were kind of separate out a little bit. We were within 30, 40 feet of each other, but it was.
Well, Lake Sullivan's very well known for Squatch activity,
and that's why we chose that spot, because I've seen some documentaries and did some online research, because when we come, we want to go have some fun, and we want to have fun and do it, so
if you're in a vehicle that can get out there, I don't know how the snow is out there, but from Lake Sullivan going back towards all the camps and Gypsy Meadows and stuff like that.
That's what I was going to ask you about Gypsy Meadows.
So I haven't been there per se. Well, no, I haven't been there, and I haven't done any searching up in that area. But yeah, there's been some serious activity, and a few people been up there, even recently, I think. So, yeah.
So yeah, I understand that's kind of a hot spot.
Yeah,
I've heard about it before. I've heard of Gypsy Meadows.
Yeah. We don't have a vehicle today that we can get.
Yeah, it's all-wheel drive, but I don't know
it's
how.
It's a little car.
I don't think it's.
Yeah,
the truck
our tires are like all weather.
Is in the shop, so.
Yeah, I mean, if it snowed in pretty hard up there, I wouldn't even attempt it, because Gypsy Meadows is way up there.
Well, we'd have to leave a lot earlier.
Yeah, we would.
When we leave you, we're literally leaving here. We're going to go to Sullivan Lake for just a little while and then come back. So.
And so this is the thing that I've kind of come to realize about, like, the activities that I've encountered, is that during certain parts of the year, they're in different areas. And I don't believe that you're dealing with just one Sasquatch out there. I believe that there's families. And I've found that evidence. I mean, tracks of 3. Like, I have images of one footprint that's like this, and it just totally engulfs my 13-inch boot, and then one about the same size as my 13-inch boot, and then a smaller, all barefooted, coming out of the woods down to a water source. That was up in one area. I found that same thing in another area on the Ponderay National Wildlife Refuge. And then, so, like when I was telling you about the whoops on Sand Canyon, there's an area that it's a primitive area, and it's not really where humans go, but they follow the creeks and they go from food source to water source, etc. And so what I found was like they were in that area late, maybe into fall, and then by the time winter came, they went somewhere else. So part of what I found was during the winter, after the snow came down, melted down some, and I was able to get up as far as I could towards Kalispell Peak, I came across tracks up there, which was up higher in the elevation.
Now, how far away is that from here?
Kalispell Peak probably 30 or 40 miles from Chihuahua through in the national forest, though, and it's all wooded. It's not
Is
on
it
a
Colville
pavement.
Forest?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
probably the
Colville
one you're
National Forest.
reading about.
Well,
yeah.
the first time we did this, we drove over the mountain in that little car, her and I alone. The first time we did this, and we went up to Medellin.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going that way, and on the way back, we stopped, and on the way back over the mountain, we stopped at the sign there. It says Colville National Forest, and it was blizzard conditions coming in, but we
That's
pulled
right.
over and stopped and rolled down the windows and listened, and we literally heard some whoops in the distance, and when we sat there and looked at each other, and I'm like, well, either that's a bunch of drunk kids out there, or that's what we came to see, or here.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So-
you'll be able to tell the difference between.
And I'm telling you right now, it was blizzard conditions, and there wasn't anybody on the roads hardly. So it was
Yeah.
not a,
The
bunch
timing
of
was
people.
very interesting. Yeah,
And,
it was
and from
like
what we understand, there's a bunch of most of the researchers and people who want to do this don't go during the winter conditions normally. So
No, I mean you could try it, but unless you're on a snowmobile or something like that, you're gonna play
Yeah.
hell trying to get out there. And
Right.
even if you're in a vehicle like that, you're gonna get stuck.
Yeah.
And then that's not even worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to tell the difference between the whoops that a human's trying to imitate versus the actual, like a squatch making a whoop. They're very loud and they echo across the canyon. So like you might hear a whoop that I think that like the ones that I heard on Sand Canyon, I could have probably heard them all the way across that valley, no matter where I was at.
Wow.
They were that loud. And the howls that came with them, they're too long and too loud to be human, because no human's got that lung capacity or the decibel.
now, what time of the year do you normally go out and do this?
Well, I used to go out all through every part of the year. I used to do a lot of snow tracking. I haven't this year, and I kind of, like I said, it's hard to get out to some of those places. I mean, I used to like tracking in the snow because they show up real good, but you got to be able to get out there, which, unless, like I say, if you don't have a snowmobile, you're not going to be able to do that. But anyways, thank you for that report.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's awesome.